We're back.
It's been such a long time since the last time we saw you. This is Table Talk Carpool, Messages of Madness with Dan
and Michelle.
And what do we want to talk about today? We have a few minutes when we got to be at work, child. Trying hustle, boy. The conventions that's been going on over the past 2 weeks. The Republican convention, and now this week the Democratic convention, and y'all,
man, all I can do is shake my head because I'm gonna vote, definitely gonna vote. Too many sacrifices have been made to not vote, but the decision is tough.
The decision is
well, no, let me say the decision's not tough, it's the choices.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I've been voting, since I was 18 years old. I mean, this is, 25 years of voting. And for the first time in my life, I've never been so scared. I don't know about you, and I may not be as savvy as you in terms of politics and things like that. And if you know more and you can give us some advice as to who's the best candidate, please comment and let us know. But I'm going to tell you something, people. I'm afraid. I'm literally afraid. I just came back from Pennsylvania after, for about a week.
I don't mean to cut you off, but hold your thought. But there was a word cloud done about how people feel about these elections. And when it came to one of the candidates, one of the words that came up the most, and it might have been for both candidates, but the statement that came up the most in that word cloud is afraid.
Afraid.
But anyway, you were in.
And we're gonna segue to that because that's significant. But I was in Pennsylvania for a week, and the reason why I had to go to Pennsylvania was because my son, who's an African American male, got into some trouble with the law. And awesome kid, awesome, and every parent will say this about their kid, and so I'm no different. But awesome kid, and if you know this about my son, like, comment here. Great kid, very good demeanor, pleasant, just never been in trouble with the law. But it's a long story. But the short of it is that he was beat up pretty bad by the police officer. My son don't remember anything, not one thing about what happened, and I had to get there immediately, and thank God for my bestie, because child, she thought I was pitiful that day. Friends are for. Yes,
hey, I'm a mom, and I know if I was 1,500 miles away from my kid, and they were going through something, the first thing that be on my mind is how do I get there?
How do I get there? And she made it happen for me, and I'm gonna tell you something. I was out of it. I looked like crap in the airport, crying, snot everywhere. She even made me spaghetti. I'm trying to eat this spaghetti. I'm just so happy about this spaghetti, but I'm so sad, and I'm like a hot mess. But I get there to my son, and I needed to be with him, and he needed to be with me. And I'm gonna tell you something. Of all of the things that I wanted to say and do, the number one thing that was most important to me was to tell the officer, thank you for not killing my son.
Did you get a chance to do that?
Yes.
You did?
I did.
Oh my gosh. What did he say?
Thank you. Yeah, completely.
But you know what? Do you really have to thank the officer for not taking your son's life?
And I did.
Golly, man. So tell us
because
more.
that could have. Thank you for not killing my son. And it was kind of like, whoa, kind of like, really. And from what I understand, and I don't know this officer, if I want to understand, he's pretty rough with people. He's a very hands-on person, and this is how he do. He hurt him. And it could have went so many different ways based on the circumstance of my son's arrest. But I was just so grateful that he did not kill my son because of the fear that I have for police officers now, and the fear that I have for our potential presidency. And this fear has been planted in our hearts, from what we've been seeing in the media, and planted in our hearts because of one of the candidates. That's all this candidate talks about is you should be afraid, and I'm going to fix it. If you vote for me, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to take that fear away. And I'm thinking, But your candidacy is evoking the fear.
And it's so much bigger than him.
It is
You know what
so
I mean?
much, yes. And you know, I look at the campaign trail of this particular candidate. We're not going to use any names because we're trying to be nonpartisan, you know, but we want to kind of share across the board, like what our feelings are in terms of both candidates. But, you know, one of the candidates' trail has been riddled with hostility and anger. I've never seen that in my life. I've followed campaigns. I was a former elected official. I've never seen any person campaign and you know, stimulate such anger and hatred in my life.
And it's reminiscent of a horrible era in our history.
Yes.
And history can repeat itself if you're not careful. So.
Absolutely.
But then there's the alternative. And maybe it's not riddled with the same types of negative rhetoric that we're used to hearing from one side of the fence. But, you know, on that note, I'm still just not confident.
Yeah.
I'm not confident about that choice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because the other candidate, I mean, it's just lies and deception and, you know, the
and
appearance.
how much of it can you believe?
Yeah, how much can you believe? It's just so. And while I, as a woman, am excited that there's a woman, you know, candidate out there. Whew, I'm excited about that. I'm still afraid because I just feel like I don't know enough to make the best choice. And as much as I read, it's still skewed because it's someone else writing about it.
Right, and it's too much time trying to defend what the other person is stirring up about them.
Right.
So that way, you can't really get to hear what the real issues are, what the real vision is to address those issues, because it's too much time spent trying to on the defense.
Yes. It's way too much time invested on the defense of this. And, you know, the bottom line is if you have not been registered to vote, if you haven't sat on a jury, if you've been avoiding that, you're taking away your own power. And while we don't feel like we have any real good choices here, we still have the power to make a choice and have a voice. And we need to be completely connected with this campaign. If we haven't been connected with this campaign over the past year and a half, this next several months, you need to be connected. If you haven't been paying attention to the conventions, even at the Republican convention, the delegates showed up casting their votes, and it was as if the delegates wasn't saying anything. You know, one state was, you know, calling out their votes, and when they announced the votes back, it was as if they just completely ignored the delegates' votes. And it was their prerogative.
How?
Their delegates voted the opposite of the candidate that was selected.
Now, that's interesting.
And they were like, I just couldn't
on?
believe it. And and then I was confused. So what is the purpose of this? Didn't understand this process, and it was freaking me out. And right now I have a friend who is a delegate, and he's there at the Democratic convention. And, you know, I didn't get a chance to watch much of the the Democratic convention this week. And I just hope that whatever vote he casts, that, you know, it's not being ignored. But there's negativity happening in both the Republican and the Democratic conventions. There's ugliness happening, and I'm just afraid, y'all. I'm afraid for me. I'm afraid for my children. I'm afraid for my community. I'm afraid for our economy, and mainly because what we have seen, and that's it, because I don't have enough information. I'm not following these people. I'm not privileged to interview these people.
Here's the thing. we and everybody can take that emotion. If you're fearful, however it is you feel, you can take that and you can do something with it. And it should incite you to action. And that action doesn't necessarily have to be violent. It doesn't have to be negative. You can do something with that energy. Take that energy and harness it in a way to make a difference. Now, what that difference is for us, we still have yet to decide. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Everybody has the ability to make decisions. Harness that energy, make a decision, and do something. Allow it to incite you to action. And with that...
Action, y'all. Action brings change.
That's right. That's right.
please exercise your right to vote. If you aren't watching the Democratic conventions this week, then you need to be paying attention to the rest of this campaign trail and get out there and knock on doors and let people know that you care about your community, you care about yourself, you care about the family, and you care about your village. Be a voice. Don't be forgotten about. So like,
That's
comment,
our
and share. Subscribe.
message and madness for the day. Bye.
See you guys.